Our favourite time of the week, no matter how depressing the world can be, the wonderful Megyn Kelly joins us from the United States. The Megyn Kelly Show, lots of places you can find it. YouTube, podcast and SiriusXM. How are you, Rockstar?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, very good. Like you, trudging through the difficulties of the day, including how people who live in free countries are afraid to go outside because they think people are going to hunt them down because of who they are. And that's not paranoia. We saw what happened on that plane in Russia, and now in the United States. I can't believe that Jews are being told to stay inside.
No, it's happened now in a few different instances. At Cooper Union College here in New York City, the Jewish kids had to lock the library doors because the mob outside was banging on the doors, understanding there were Jews inside. They were in there afraid. Then at Cornell, just over the weekend, they were told that people were out to kill them and to avoid the Jewish center where they go to eat. And in Brooklyn, New York, there was a huge gathering of some thousands of people pro-Palestine, and the NYPD advised Jews who were thinking about going and walking anywhere near this area to stay away, that they couldn't be protected. And my reaction to all of this is the same, which is no, not America. That's not how things work here. If I were the president of Cornell University or Cooper Union and I heard anything about a threat to our Jewish students, my message would not be, don't go to the dining hall. Stay in your room because people are out to get you. I would say, how much do we have in our endowments? We're getting it all. I'm spending whatever it takes to get security in here right now, private security, or I'm calling every professor on staff and saying, get your asses over to the Jewish Center and make sure that our students are protected, because the answer is not Jews stay home. The answer is aggressors who are threatening them. We will stand up to you, and ultimately we will expel you. But in all three tests so far, we've failed. We've sent a message that we cannot protect the Jewish targets and that they must barricade themselves from the rest of society to be safe. It doesn't make sense, and it's actually really dangerous. It really is anti-Semitism. What would be the other reason? It's kind of like, oh, you asked for it. It's complicated. You're just going to have to deal with the effects of what's happening between Israel and Hamas. No, wrong answer. Try again. But these universities are so weak, and they're so beholden to these wokesters on the left who are now trying to turn this into a purely political issue without paying any mind to the disgusting terrorist attack, that they're afraid. They don't want to stand up to them. And I will say, I think more Jewish individuals and Gentiles and Muslims who are against what's being done to our Jewish friends, and Buddhists and Hindus, we can go down the list, need to get out there and say something too. I mean, I'm happy to go out there and put back up the Israeli flag, put back up those posters, shame the people who are pulling them down. I really am. And the first thing I'll do if somebody tries to challenge me is turn on my iPhone so I can make a star out of whoever tries to mess with us. But our Jewish friends need our help right now. All these so-called allies who helped during BLM, and they helped on the trans stuff, and they helped when gays needed equal rights. Too many of them are nowhere to be seen. And the Jews are finding themselves alone, which makes it even scarier to go out in large numbers and protest, because, well, look what happened in Russia, as you just pointed out. They came in on a flight from Tel Aviv. It was obvious who was going to be on that flight. They had to be hidden. They had to be helicoptered off site for their own safety. We don't want anybody to find themselves in that situation.
Now, Friends, of course, has had multiple lives, be it on streaming and, of course, way back when on free television. It was one of the last shared TV experiences before the culture split in 1,000 different ways. And, of course, Matthew Perry, one of its stars, has died in the past few days. We'll learn more about exactly what took his life, be it his own behaviour, accident, or who knows, right? But what have you thought of the reaction to it?
Well, I was very sad because I think that show was peaking just as I was coming of age. You know, I was about 23 years old, I think, 22, around there when it launched, and I watched.
You're still peaking, mate. Come on. You peak every week.
Maybe in some other ways, like around the belly region. Peaking out. In any event,
sorry.
So I loved it, and I loved the character of Chandler Bing that Matthew Perry played, like so many others did. I mean, his comedic timing, the way he used his inflection on his certain words. You know, could I be any more? Could she be any more out of my league? Things like that. Things that we say to this day that we don't necessarily know we got from him. incredibly clever, good looking. And to me, it's a very sad story about, again, something we talked about last week when we talked about Britney, fame, and in his case, addiction. He was very open in an interview he gave to the New York Times a year ago when his book launched about how he got down on his hands and knees 3 weeks before he was cast in Friends and begged the Lord, begged for him to make him famous, super famous. It's what he wanted more than anything. And we see how fulfilling that was for him. Not at all. Fame fills absolutely no voids. It solves absolutely no problems. It only creates them. Matthew Perry, I think, was lost at the time he went to Hollywood. He remained lost. And even though he was surrounded by so many friends, he never managed to find himself until he wound up in recovery. And he wound up saying, Paul, that he hoped his legacy would not be that show, even though it made him famous and it made him very rich and it brought a lot of people a lot of joy. He hoped his legacy would be the hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people he helped by coming clean on his addiction. And what a scourge, what a monster it was for him. Just don't start. And as soon as you start to feel it spinning out of control, get help early.
Let's talk a bit of politics now. The Iowa poll that's come out from the Des Moines Register, they're pretty much bang on here. And they say that Trump is likely to win in Iowa, but it's not the 50-point margin and he's not over 50%, meaning theoretically there's someone who could end up being the not Trump, but there's still 100 people trying to be not Trump.
It's very interesting. So Trump is at 43% in this Iowa poll. This is the gold standard poll. And his next closest competitors are Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, who are both tied at 16, which is more ahead than he was in the last poll. His number 46, or whatever he is, 43, is higher than he was in the last poll, which was 42. So he's going up despite all the crap that's been thrown at him. DeSantis went down. Nikki Haley went up 10 points. So she's on a bit of a roll. And it'll be interesting to see, like in a month and a half, 2 months, by the time we get to Iowa and New Hampshire in January, if her train keeps going the way it's going, she's going to be up here. And DeSantis is going to be done. He'll be off. Nobody else in the poll put any number on the board that was worth even mentioning. But if you look at all of the not Trump vote, it equals 51, which last time I checked is higher than 43. So the not Trump vote in Iowa is higher than the Trump vote. So it's back to the problem that the not Trump voters have faced all along, which is you need consolidation or you're screwed. You need to convince everyone to drop out other than one strong candidate, or it's going to be Trump. And no one has been willing to do that. Donald Trump, he's crushing by all measures. And here's what I want to say about it. It's self-fulfilling, the snowballing of Trump's success. He's becoming truly like the snowball that grows and grows and grows. The more it rolls and goes downhill or uphill or sideways, whichever way it goes, it gets bigger. And the more stuff they throw at Trump, the harder it is for him to get the nomination. This massive civil case trying to ruin his business, 4 criminal indictments, which actually might put him in jail before the election in 2024. Go down the list of the controversies. The bigger he gets, the more he doesn't roll over, fall down, and stay down, the more inevitable he seems, the stronger he seems, the more formidable.
Yeah, I agree completely. Megyn, if only we could vote for you. Lovely to talk to you. We'll talk to you again next week.
See you next week, Paul. Bye.